Welcome to computersciencecafe.com. In this video we will cover variables and user inputs, both fundamentals of computer programming and both aspects, once you grasp the concept, make programming easier and more fun. Also, please feel free to visit computersciencecafe.com to download free resources or worksheets. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Variables in programming are a little bit like a box. The same as a box, we use the box to store things, we use a variable to store things that we want to use at a later date. Now, when we store things in the box, we give the box a sensible name. That is the same as declaring a variable. When we take things out of the box, that is the same principle as calling a variable. Now let's see how it works in Python. So here I'm going to create a variable or declare a variable, the same as a box. So I'm going to call this my name. Now I'll go into in a minute about declaring variables and what names we can give them, and then I'm going to give a name here of Bob, and then print my name. So this is like I've declared a variable called my name, the same as the example when I created a box called keys, and then I've put the contents of Bob into that box or variable, and then here I'm calling the variable, so I'm asking what is in the contents of that box. So if I run this program now, I'm saying print my name, and you can see here that Bob is what is printed. Now before I go on, just a few things about naming your variables. So when you're declaring a variable, you can give it almost any name you want to, but give it a sensible name. So for example, if the variable is going to contain student names, then call the variable student names. If it's going to contain a pet name, then call the variable pet name. So make sure the name of the variable relates to the contents of the variable. Secondly, keep consistent. So if you're using lowercase first word, uppercase first letter of the second word, then do that throughout the program. If you're using the underscore option, then do that throughout the program. Try to avoid using things such as X, Y's and Z's that don't really mean anything. When somebody else comes to read your code, they should be able to see the variable and quite quickly realize, this is what this variable should contain. Secondly, we cannot name the variable the command words. Now, as we go through this program, you will learn more command words, but for example, we've already used print, that is a command word. We cannot name a variable print. Other names such as for, range, exit, we cannot use. Now, some of them I'll put on the screen now, but others we will learn as we go along. The other thing to remember at this point is do not save your file with names such as Python. Also, later on, we'll be using some imports, such as maths, such as total. We cannot name our file with the same name as any of their imports. Again, if we look on the screen here, then I have listed some of the names not to call your Python file when you save it. Okay, so we can see here that I am using the method of the first word being lowercase, the first letter of the second word being uppercase, and then the rest of it being lowercase. And I will stick to this method for the remainder of the program. So I now have my name, and I want another variable now, so I'm going to call this variable intro. And then I'm just going to say, for example, hello, my name is, and then I'm going to leave that there. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to print the intro followed by whatever the name is here. So I can do print intro plus my name. So I'm linking these two together. And if you see here, I left a space just so it leaves a space between this hello my name is and when it prints the name. Okay, so if I run this and see if this works, it's always a good idea to run your program after every couple of lines of code or every opportunity. Just run your program to check it works. Therefore, you can be testing for errors as you go along. Okay, that's worked. Hello, my name is Bob. So now we know how to declare a variable, so saving an object into a variable. We can now make this program a little bit more user-friendly and user interactive. So for example, we can ask the user what their name is, and then we can say hello to them. So to do that here, I'm just going to change this variable name to username because that's a little bit more sensible. And then we can use the command input. Now, input is a command word. You can see here it's changed color, and this will allow the user to type something in. So then I can then give them a prompt. So say, what is your name? And then if I leave a space there to keep it neat. So that means that when the user types something in to answer this question, their answer will be saved in the variable username. So I can now say, for example, hello plus username. So I'm saying hello, and then I've got a space here. Then I'm calling this variable, and then I can say something like, welcome to my program, close brackets. Okay, and then lastly, I can, sorry, this needs to be a print, so I can just print that. If I can type, so print, okay. So we're printing hello plus the username, which is the same as we joined strings with strings in the last section. And then again, remember to put a plus to join this variable with the next string. And now hopefully that will work. So let's just run this and see what happens. And here we have it. We're asking, what is your name? So if I type in my name and press enter, and then hello Jason, welcome to my program. So I will just continue from here and look how this will work with numbers. So I'm going to ask the user to input a number, then input a second number, and then I'll add the numbers up and give an output. So for example, I can give this a variable called num1, and I can say I want an input, so I want the user to type something in. Then I can say, please enter your first number. And then again, if I just put a space there to make that neat, and then I can ask them to enter the second number. So to speed things up, I will copy and paste. Please enter your second number. Okay, and then I need to remember that this needs to be num2. So if I now tell Python to print num1 plus num2, let's see what happens, because I've not told Python that these are actual numbers. So if you remember in the last video dealing with strings and numbers and the difference between the two, so let's see what happens. So hello, what is your name? And let's say I have 3 and 2, and there we can see the print is 32, which is obviously not correct. It is printing the string of num1 and the string of num2. So here I need to tell Python what type of data this is. So here I need to say this is an integer and this is an integer. Now, because I've opened 2 brackets at the start here, I need to close 2 brackets at the end. So close 1 bracket there and close 1 bracket there. It's a common mistake to open 2 brackets here and only close 1 at the end. So now I've told Python that the user's input will be an integer, so it knows that their input is a number. And then saying print the user input number 1, the user input number 2, and add them up. So let's see what happens now. Okay, so again, what is your first number? 3. What is your second number? 2. And then we can see it's now added these up and we get the output of 5. At this stage, I would suggest you have a play with taking an input as a string as demonstrated here, have a play with taking an input as an integer, have a play with outputting them, adding them up. You can
do minus, you can do times, which is shift and number 8 on your keyboard. I suggest at this point you have a play using the syntax that you now have available to you.
I hope you found this video useful. Please feel free to ask any questions or leave comments on YouTube or leave questions at computersciencecafe.com, and feel free to download some of the free resources from computersciencecafe.com which complement this course.